Yeah, so actually what I did was I talked about a concept about democratization of data, right? And what I feel is that over the last several years, especially with the advent of social media and the data outside the enterprise, there's a whole avalanche of data which is relevant to a given company, which exists outside the company's ecosystem, right? And there are multiple kind of solutions that you can see, which are derived from the data which is not traditionally held within an enterprise, like your order, shipment, revenue, margin, your supply chain data. So what I wanted to kind of and excite people a little bit about the whole open source movement, right? And the movement where um, people who may not be working for bigger companies but still have access and opportunity to go solve much bigger problems, right? And I gave multiple examples, from Kaggle, where people across the world have an opportunity to solve a very complex airline problem, solve a very complex medical problem, or or solve problems in the financial domain, right? Which is very fascinating, which wasn't even even on the radar even say 10 years ago. But now with the democratization of data and having an ability to kind of go do that, I think things have dramatically shifted, right? So although data is important, but your ability and the skills to do something with data have become even more important now. So I just wanted to kind of give a bit of an overview of that. So Yodlee is a company in what we call the fintech space, the financial technology space, right? And essentially it's a company which has basically, when it started, revolutionized the whole way of how can you help users manage their finances. If you look through any individual, finance is one of the most important and a personal aspect about a user, right? And having an ability to kind of being able to see your complete financial picture at one place is something that Yodlee started, that the whole data aggregation practice, right? But as we evolved over the years, I think we have been able to kind of embed analytics into providing better and better services across multiple domains, right? Having an ability to go understand based on the data, completely anonymous data, of what's happening at a macroeconomic level, what's happening at an industry level, and being able to go solve those of the problems is something I think we feel very proud of. Good question, right? And I think again, as I said, as I talk and gave the talk, right? I mean, I've been doing this for maybe more than 20 years now, right? And I've seen the evolution. So I think one of the obstacles I would say is, even though the numbers are growing dramatically, I believe the depth in certain areas is still an issue, right? So I mean, a lot of the I think organizations are coming out with very superficial understanding of that, right? So ability to kind of go work at a deeper level is something which is important. Obviously, you need all sorts of skill sets, right? And as I talked, right? You need to me, an analytics organization is a three-legged stool, right? You need to have, good data sciences, maths, that machine learning background. You need to have good technical background, but also a very strong business acumen, right? But having, I think, resource is one thing that that I believe is something that we have to think through. Also, I do believe that a bit of a hype has been created, right? Around the analytics industry, that needs to be taken care of, right? It's, analytics by itself is not a solution to all problems in the world, right? Having the business acumen, because an analyst can solve a problem, but the implementation is still the domain expertise that has to be done, right? And making sure that the components, analytics and the business teams can work together is something which in several organizations I have seen that it has become a silo and not have been able to implement that, right? Yes, I mean, I've been here maybe a couple of hours now, so I think, I mean, one of them is, attended a panel discussion and trying to see how people are developing their organization. That has been very, very good. Got to meet a lot of my ex-colleagues and employees, right? So that has been very good. But in general, very, very nice to see an analytics ecosystem evolving in India, right? And practitioners, coming together and meeting. So that's, I think, something very positive out of this conference.